Welcome to While We Were Distracted, the podcast where we explore topics that often get overshadowed in the rush of daily life.
Today, we're trying to find some clarity in, well, what has to be one of aviation's most chilling and complex mysteries, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370.
Right.
We're now more than a decade out from when it happened, but a new, very high-stakes deep-sea search has just been launched. It really suggests the silence might finally be broken.
And that's the critical pivot here. I mean, we aren't just recounting the tragedy.
No.
We're synthesizing the newest developments, who is funding this,
Yeah.
the exact tech they're using, and, the huge investigative implications tied to this unprecedented financial commitment.
The goal here is to give you a complete picture of why this new effort right now matters so much.
Exactly.
So let's just start with the basics, the non-negotiables. We're talking about a Boeing 777.
Yep, a 777.
It's carrying 239 people, most of them Chinese nationals, and it was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on March 8, 2014. The official story is that the flight just lost contact less than an hour after takeoff. That's the simple part.
But the simple part, it just immediately gave way to something unimaginable. What makes this so unique is that it didn't just vanish.
Right.
It executed this crucial, purposeful change in direction.
Right.
Military radar showed the plane deviated, and I mean drastically, from its path. It turned west and then south, deep into the far southern Indian Ocean.
And that deviation, that completely baffling turn, that's what led to the largest search in aviation history.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to think about the sheer scale of that first attempt.
It was huge.
It was a multinational effort. We're talking 26 countries, 60 ships, 50 aircraft. This wasn't some localized thing. It was a massive global mobilization that went on formally until 2017.
And after all that, what did it all yield?
Very, very little. And that's the agonizing part of the story, isn't it?
It is.
Precisely. They only found these small fragments of debris, flaperones, other parts.
And they washed ashore thousands of miles away.
Thousands of miles away on the East African coast and islands like Reunion. And look, these fragments confirm the plane crashed, but the painful truth is no main wreckage, no flight recorders, and no bodies.
The Indian Ocean just swallowed a passenger jet.
It did.
I think we should pause on that for a second. The initial search area, how did they even define it? Because that's key to understanding the new search. It wasn't just guesswork, was it?
No, not at all. It was very sophisticated science. The search was defined by analyzing satellite handshake data.
The Inmarsat pings.
The Inmarsat pings, exactly.
Yeah.
These are automated signals the plane sends out, even if other systems are off. And they let analysts figure out the plane's final approximate range, this circle they call the seventh arc.
And that's where it theoretically ran out of fuel.
That's the theory.
Right.
And that arc is about 1,800 miles off the coast of Western Australia, in an area where the seafloor is just incredibly rugged and deep.
So you have the science pointing to a location, but then the investigation looked at the flight dynamics and decided, well, this wasn't just an accident. This is where it gets really unsettling. The 2018 final report.
Yeah, the 2018 report, it didn't mince words. It concluded that the plane's controls, and this is the key phrase, likely deliberately manipulated to take it off course.
Deliberately. So this wasn't a systems failure?
Yeah, this points directly to intentional action. We know the communication systems, the ACARs, the transponder, they were turned off manually. That takes specialized knowledge.
But if we accept that it was deliberate, it moves this whole thing from a recovery mission to solving a potential crime.
It does.
But the sources all point to this major caveat in that 2018 finding.
And the caveat is the missing why. A huge one. Investigators were sure the manipulation happened, but they could draw no conclusions about the motive.
Pilot suicide.
Hijacking.
Or something else entirely. They were clear that any conclusive answer requires finding the physical evidence, the wreckage, and crucially, the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. And without that answer, the human element of this, it just continues to twist. The families of those 239 people, they're still in this agonizing limbo.
And they've been the loudest voices, consistently calling for the search to restart.
You can't blame them.
Of course not. And, in that vacuum of evidence, what happens?
Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories proliferate. Everything from a deliberate pilot action to these elaborate military interventions. Without definitive proof, it's hard to silence that kind of speculation.
Which brings us to today, a decade of grappling with the where and the why, and now the search is back on with a new operator.
It is. It's a Texas-based marine robotics firm, Ocean Infinity. or OI,
An American company?
private American company, yeah, known for its advanced deep-sea mapping. And they've actually tried this before. They did an unsuccessful search back in 2018, right after the government one ended. Now they're back.
What's really fascinating to me is the business structure here. I mean, we're talking about solving one of the world's biggest mysteries.
Under a very strict contract.
A performance-based contract with the Malaysian government.
It really shows how high the stakes are. Ocean Infinity is operating under a no-fine, no-fee contract.
So what does that actually mean in practice?
It means they front all the operational costs,
Yeah.
which are, substantial. We're talking about a remote location, incredibly high-tech equipment. It's a huge financial risk for them.
But I imagine there's an enormous incentive on the other side of that risk.
Oh, there is. Let's talk numbers. Ocean Infinity will get $70 million,
$70 million.
or about 56 million pounds, but only if the main wreckage is found.
Wow.
That figure is telling. The first government-led search cost well over $150 million and found nothing substantial. This $70 million bounty, it's a way for Malaysia to show commitment but minimize their own financial risk.
It maximizes the private sector's motivation.
Exactly, and we now have a specific window for this push.
Right.
The operation is set to resume intermittently, starting on December 30th, 2025. And they've carved out a total window of just 55 days.
That is a very tight, highly motivated timeline. So why are they so confident this time? I mean, their last attempt failed, government spent a fortune. But what's technologically different now?
The difference primarily is the evolution of their autonomous underwater vehicles, their AUVs.
They're underwater drones.
That's right. Ocean Infinity CEO Oliver Plunkett, he's basically said their tech and their processing power have improved significantly since 2018. When you're searching an area this vast and this deep, precision is everything.
So what does that look like on the ocean floor?
It means higher resolution data and faster processing. They can use fleets of these AUVs that operate on their own, sweeping the ocean floor with advanced sonar. They can get images sharp enough to spot small pieces of wreckage, even at depths of, 13,000 feet?
So they can cover more ground, more thoroughly, and faster.
That's the idea.
So better gear is one thing, but they still have to be looking in the right place. You mentioned the 7th arc from the Inmarsat data. How did they narrow that massive area down?
That's the other half of their confidence. It's not just better hardware. They've collaborated with experts who specialize in sophisticated drift analysis.
So studying how ocean currents carry things.
Exactly. They took all the known debris found on the African coast and essentially reverse modeled the path those pieces must have taken, all the way back to the impact zone.
It's like forensic oceanography.
It is. And based on that refined modeling, the search is now laser-focused on a new 15,000 square kilometer site.
Which sounds huge.
It is, but it's tiny compared to the 120,000 square kilometers they covered initially. This new area represents the consensus pick with the highest probability of finding the plane.
And the Malaysian government seems fully committed to this. There's clearly a political motivation here, too.
Oh, definitely. The Malaysian Transport Ministry, their statement on this underscored the government's commitment to providing closure to the families.
It's about more than just finding a plane.
It's about international relations, domestic accountability. I mean, the Chinese Foreign Ministry publicly appreciated the commitment. The diplomatic pressure is immense.
So if we pull all of this together, we're looking at a tragedy that's over a decade old, where the key to understanding what happened on that flight deck might finally be within reach.
It might.
We have Ocean Infinity on a $70 million no-fine, no-fee contract. They've got advanced marine robotics. They're targeting a very specific area based on years of modeling. And they have a strict 55-day window starting late 2025.
It really does seem like the final best chance. The combination of financial incentive and technical ability has never been higher.
But given what the investigation found, that the plane was likely taken down deliberately, we have to confront the ultimate question here. Even if they find the wreckage, even if they recover the black boxes from the bottom of the Indian Ocean.
And that's the big question, isn't it? This isn't just a tech challenge, it's a forensic one. Will finding the physical evidence finally be enough? Will it give us the data to understand the motive behind that deliberate act? Or, can a deep-sea robot find enough evidence to solve what investigators believe was a crime? That's the profound question you have to mull over as we all wait for the result of this final desperate search.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode on While We Were Distracted.